Welcome to Rainbow Spotlight, where the lights are hot, the icons are hotter, and today's lineup, too hot to ignore. We're so glad you're here because this episode is a full-on celebration of 5 gay influencers who are setting 2025 on fire. These aren't just pretty faces. They're powerhouses of presence. When they show up on your feed, everything else fades. And when they post, you don't just scroll, you stare. From flawless fits to unapologetic queer energy, these men are making the internet blush, and we're here for every second. Ready to fall a little too hard for someone you're probably already following? Drop their name below and type "watched" if your heart's been doing double taps all year. Andrea Denver, the runway king, whose smile made the internet question everything. Andrea Denver wasn't supposed to be this hot. He was supposed to be too hot. The kind of Instagram perfect face that made you roll your eyes and keep scrolling. But somewhere between the cheekbones, the low-cut tank tops, and the soft Italian accent, we stayed, and then we followed. And now, we're obsessed. Originally known for modeling campaigns with Ralph Lauren and Hugo Boss, Andrea didn't just stop at fashion. He expanded into reality TV, music videos, shout out to J-Lo, and social media, where he quickly became the internet's favorite man to thirst over. But here's the twist. His biggest fan base isn't straight girls. It's gay men. And we're not talking subtle appreciation. We're talking full-on worship. Because Andrea knows exactly what he's doing. The shirtless selfies, the gym thirst traps, the slow-motion runway walks paired with sultry music. This man doesn't post, he performs. And his audience? Loud, queer, and loyal. What makes Andrea so magnetic to gay fans isn't just the body, though, let's be real, that alone could carry a career. It's the way he leans into being looked at, admired, desired. There's no discomfort, no homo defense mechanism. He welcomes the gaze. And in a world where so many men shrink from queer attention, Andrea thrives in it. He's been spotted at Pride events, walked for queer designers, and regularly interacts with LGBTQ+ fans online with warmth and humor. He even once told an interviewer that he loved being a gay icon and considered it an honor. That kind of openness? Unheard of in a world where straight men often benefit from queer admiration while pretending not to notice. And here's where it gets interesting. Andrea may not publicly identify as gay, or even queer, but his presence has become a kind of safe thirst zone for queer audiences. He gives just enough to keep the fantasy alive, while never mocking it, distancing from it, or treating it like a joke. That's a delicate line, and Andrea walks it with the grace of a man who gets it. There's also something uniquely European about Andrea's masculinity. He doesn't flex too hard. He smiles softly. He wears gold jewelry and open shirts without apology. His vibe is less alpha male and more luxury boyfriend you meet on vacation and never get over. And in 2025, that energy is exactly what queer fans are craving. Beauty, warmth, confidence, and the thrill of maybe. Andrea Denver isn't just an influencer. He's an illusion we want to believe in, and he plays the part flawlessly. Has Andrea ever made you forget what you were doing and just stare at your phone like it owed you an explanation? Type TOOHOT in the comments if his Instagram has ever ruined your productivity. Guillaume Cizeron, the ice dancer who made queer elegance an Olympic event grace. Power, stillness, seduction. Somehow Guillaume Cizeron manages to embody all of it. And he does it while gliding across a sheet of ice like it's silk. In a world of influencers trying to manufacture charm, Guillaume doesn't have to try. He moves, and the world watches. And when queer beauty takes form in motion, in line, in emotion, in choreography, he's the blueprint. Guillaume is a 5-time European champion, 5-time world champion, an Olympic medalist in ice dance, performing alongside his longtime skating partner, Gabriela Papadakis. Their chemistry on the ice is mesmerizing. But what really sets Guillaume apart is how he brought something radically queer to a space that's often stiff, conservative, and built on rigid gender roles. He didn't just compete. He redefined what masculinity could look like on the Olympic stage. Openly gay and proud, Guillaume shattered the silent rule book around figure skating. While many athletes remained closeted or neutral to protect their careers, Guillaume came out publicly in 2020, not with a tearful announcement or a tabloid scoop, but with quiet clarity and grace. He didn't frame his queerness as a distraction. He made it part of the art. Watch him skate and you'll see it. The fluid wrists, the vulnerable eye contact, the ability to project both tenderness and dominance, sometimes in the same routine. He dances with a kind of intimacy that makes the crowd hold its breath, not because of the score, but because of the story. And while ice dance has long blurred gender roles, Guillaume made it undeniably queer. His body language speaks of softness without weakness, strength without rigidity. There's no posturing, no pretending. He brings ballet, expressionism, and raw emotion to every step. And queer fans around the world see it for what it is: representation with artistry. Off the ice, Guillaume is just as compelling. His Instagram is a curated dream of fashion editorials, shirtless landscapes, abstract poetry, and Parisian coffee shops. He blurs the line between athlete and aesthetic icon, with chiseled features, piercing eyes, and an aura that says, "I know who I am, and I'm not here to explain it." He has quietly become one of the most admired queer influencers in the world. He doesn't shout for attention. He draws it in like gravity. In 2025, Guillaume is more than an Olympian. He's a queer icon whose influence ripples far beyond the rink. In a time when queer beauty is often loud and performative, and we love that too, he reminds us that subtlety can be just as powerful, and sometimes even more unforgettable. Has Guillaume ever made you feel something deep just by how he looked over his shoulder mid-spin? Type iceburn in the comments if you've replayed his routines like they were love letters written in movement. Nicolas Puschmann, the gay bachelor who turned reality TV into a queer love revolution. Nicolas Puschmann didn't just break the rules. He rewrote them in rose petals, designer suits, and a confident smirk that made queer fans everywhere lean in a little closer. In 2019, Nicolas became Germany's first-ever gay bachelor on the hit show Prince Charming, making international headlines and history in the same breath. And while reality dating shows have been a staple of straight culture for decades, Nicolas brought something totally new. A queer love story that wasn't shy, tragic, or edited for laughs, but powerful, romantic, and fully real. From the very first episode, he carried himself with charisma and care. He wasn't performative. He wasn't stiff. He was warm, funny, stylish, and totally at ease with being adored, not just by the contestants, but by millions of viewers who had never seen a gay man lead a dating show with that much elegance and confidence. And let's be honest, he looked good doing it. Tall, blue-eyed, and dressed like he stepped out of a luxury magazine, Nicolas was the perfect blend of classic bachelor polish and queer refinement. He flirted like a pro, cried without shame, and kissed on camera like it was no big deal, because it shouldn't be. And that's where the revolution started. For so long, queer dating on TV had been a side plot, a punchline, or a ratings stunt. But Nicolas made it feel normal. And not just normal, desirable. The dates were romantic. The tensions were real. And the emotional stakes? Sky high. When he handed out those black lapel pins instead of roses, it wasn't just symbolic, it felt like history. But Nicolas didn't stop after one season. He kept showing up, in interviews, on podcasts, at Pride events, with the same energy, unapologetically gay, irresistibly charming, and fiercely proud of what his season represented. He opened the door for LGBTQ+ visibility in European media in a way that felt cool, not preachy. He wasn't trying to explain queerness to the world. He was just living it, beautifully. Off-screen, Nicolas is just as magnetic. He's since become a media personality, public speaker, and LGBTQ plus advocate. His Instagram is part thirst trap, part self-love manifesto. He dances, he models, he tells his story with honesty and flair. Whether dressed in a sharp tuxedo or a sheer top that leaves nothing to the imagination, he always radiates one thing: confidence. And for queer fans, especially those who grew up without seeing their love stories taken seriously, that's everything. In 2025, Nicolas Puschmann remains a symbol of what queer romance should look like on screen: messy, beautiful, desirable, and most importantly, worthy of the spotlight. Did Nicolas ever make you believe that queer love could be just as swoon-worthy as the straight version? Type Prince in the comments if you still remember your favorite moment from Prince Charming, and wish there were 10 more seasons. Thomas Orlina, the proud Filipino voice turning visibility into a vibe. In a digital landscape filled with filters, scripted collabs, and carefully curated personas, Thomas Orlina stands out because he's never been afraid to be real, and not just real, loudly, proudly, unapologetically queer. Thomas first caught attention with his YouTube docuseries Your Time with Thomas, where he pulled back the curtain on his life as a gay Filipino-American navigating identity, culture, and the chaos of Los Angeles. It wasn't about viral stunts or shock value. It was about truth. From coming out to his parents to navigating relationships, career, and self-worth, he shared everything with a smile, a pop soundtrack, and a sharp sense of who he is. And in doing so, he built something powerful, a connection. Thomas didn't wait for mainstream media to give him a platform. He built his own. He used every episode, every vlog, every Instagram post to show queer viewers, especially Asian Americans, that their stories mattered. That being feminine wasn't a weakness. That joy was a form of resistance. And that representation doesn't require permission. But don't get it twisted. Thomas is also fun. His content is a celebration of confidence, glow-ups, and queer joy. Think glam selfies, fashion-forward fits, red carpet interviews, and videos where he radiates the kind of energy that makes you want to be his best friend and his hype squad. He dances, he sings, he talks mental health, cultural pride, dating struggles, and pop culture chaos, all with the kind of charm that makes you forget you just watched 10 videos in a row. And representation, he lives it. As a Filipino-American gay man, Thomas doesn't water himself down to fit Hollywood molds. He brings his culture to the front. Whether speaking Tagalog phrases, hyping up Filipino food, or proudly showing off his roots, he proves that being fully you is always the most magnetic energy in the room. Over time, Thomas has evolved into more than just a content creator. He's now a speaker, host, and visible figure in LGBTQ plus advocacy and Asian American media. He's spoken on panels about intersectionality, appeared at Pride events as a guest voice, and continues to use his influence to open doors for others, especially queer youth who rarely see themselves reflected in the influencers they follow. In 2025, Thomas Orlina is what queer Gen Z dreams look like: authentic, joyful, stylish, deeply self-aware, and always evolving. He doesn't just create content, he lives out loud. And for queer fans across cultures, that kind of energy isn't just refreshing, it's revolutionary. Has Thomas Orlina ever made you feel like your full, fabulous self was more than enough? Type "shine" in the comments if his fearless joy has ever made your day brighter or your confidence bolder. Yul Moldauer, the Olympic gymnast who redefined strength with style and subtle queer magnetism. In the world of elite gymnastics, precision and power dominate the narrative. But Yul Moldauer brings something else to the mat: a rare blend of grace, beauty, and quiet confidence that's captured the attention of queer fans worldwide. Born in South Korea and raised in Colorado, Yul rose to fame as a member of the U.S. Olympic gymnastics team, known not just for his medals and technique, but for his presence. He flips with the force of a hurricane, lands with the elegance of a dancer, and smiles like he knows the camera's always watching. And for queer audiences, especially those who rarely see Asian men celebrated in sports, Yul is a revelation. While he hasn't publicly identified as LGBTQ+, Yul's visual and emotional impact lands hard in queer spaces. Why? Because he offers a different kind of masculinity. Strong yet refined, focused but soft, and deeply expressive without ever needing to say a word. In a sport where stoicism is often the norm, Yul's warmth reads as something more, something deeply felt. Watch his floor routines and you'll notice it. The pointed toes, the fluidity of movement, the intentionality behind every gesture. He doesn't just complete skills, he performs them. And he does it with a kind of poise and control that borders on ballet. That ability to marry athletic power with emotional grace, it's rare. And queer viewers see the beauty in it immediately. But it's not just his performance style that resonates. Yul has also become a symbol of Asian American pride in a sport and media landscape that often overlooks or stereotypes athletes of color. He speaks openly about his adoption, his Korean roots, and what it means to carry multiple identities into a global arena. And he does it all with humility, charm, and that signature sparkle in his eyes that makes you want to watch him. Whether he's flipping midair or just tying his grips. On social media, Yul embraces style, vulnerability, and celebration. He posts training clips alongside cozy sweater selfies, behind-the-scenes Olympic moments, and the occasional soft thirst pic that definitely doesn't go unnoticed by queer fans. He's proof that elite athletes can be multidimensional, strong, graceful, stylish, and emotionally grounded, without sacrificing an ounce of power. In 2025, Yul Moldauer isn't just an Olympian. He's an icon of what modern masculinity can look like. Fluid, expressive, and proudly rooted in both strength and softness. Has Yul's balance of beauty and power ever made you gasp mid-routine or hit replay just to feel it again? Type gravity in the comments if he made you fall, and not just for the gymnastics. Some men have followers. These 5 have a hold. Whether it's through elegance, visibility, or pure undeniable magnetism, these gay influencers aren't just hot. They're unforgettable. They're shifting culture, redefining masculinity, and showing the world what confident modern queer presence really looks like. From Olympic grace to runway thirst traps, from YouTube honesty to global romance, they've proven that being seen isn't about seeking attention. It's about owning space. Which one of these icons has you watching everything they do? Drop their name below and type "watched" if you've been following, and maybe fantasizing, since day one. Subscribe to Rainbow Spotlight for more queer icons, viral power, and stories that remind us the hottest thing you can be is you.